لما يجيك ستيف بروس مثلا يحط لك 5 في خط الدفاع ويلعب مهاجمين. اللاعبين في النص.
What is your VPN?
My VPN?
Yes.
My VPN is Spider VPN.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا بكم في نيوكاسل مع وليد. طبعا صباح الخير في نيوكاسل ومساء الخير في الرياض. اليوم حلقتنا الأسبوعية اللي تتكلم عن أبرز أخبار الصحف في السعودية عن نيوكاسل، وأيضا الصحف في نيوكاسل عن فريق نيوكاسل، مع صديق البرنامج كريستوفر. بالبداية نبارك لعقد شراكة بينه وبين كافيه صفيق كافيه، راح يكون الراعي الرسمي لرابطة أو نادي مشجعي نيوكاسل يونايتد في السعودية وتحديدا الرياض. نتمنى التوفيق. طبعا اليوم راح يكون أولى تغطيتنا إن شاء الله في الساعة 6 مساء بتوقيت السعودية إن شاء الله. ندعوكم للحضور في كافيه سوفيق. طبعا كافيه سوفيق يقدم العديد من الخدمات للرابطة، شاكرين لهم. أيضا اليوم يوجد عرض ممتاز من الكافيه، مع كل طبق من الحلويات مشروب مجاني من اختيار المشجع. وأيضا مستقبلا بإذن الله في هذا الموسم سوف نقدم تذاكر سفر إلى نيوكاسل ومباريات ومفاجآت أخرى إن شاء الله. ندعوكم إن شاء الله للحضور اليوم إن شاء الله الساعة 6، وإن شاء الله نحقق اليوم 3 نقاط وتكون فاتحة خير. Christopher, what you have for us today?
Oh, we have very many articles. Salam alaikum, sabah khair. So the first one we want to put up is a thank you to the Chronicle's outgoing editor Mark Douglas, who is leaving the paper after I think 14 years, pretty much like the Mike Ashley tenure. He came to the Chronicle. He's from Bradford City. He came to the Chronicle in Newcastle because he thought it was an exciting time and he'd be able to cover Newcastle winning trophies. And unfortunately, in his 14 years, which coincided with Mike Ashley's ownership of the club, Newcastle was unable to win any trophies. But he was a valued member of the Chronicle. He will still be covering Newcastle at the I paper, but it'll be not in the same role as he was in the Chronicle. And his article basically is a thank you note to the supporters, and going through his 14 years of love and frustrations at the club. That he's not a Newcastle fan because he's not from Bradford. He's not from Newcastle. He's from Bradford, but he definitely has like a soft spot for the club, and he really recognizes how at the base how supported how big is the support Newcastle has from fans who will support the club even through the tough Mike Ashley years, and hopefully now on to bigger and better things under the PIF and Stavely and Rubin ownership.
But Chris, he leaving the Chronicle. We will still gonna be reading from Michael Douglas articles.
I don't know about you. I've never heard of I paper where he's going, and I don't know where to find I paper. I mean, I'm assuming he'll still have his Twitter account, which he's the first. He's a little bit what's it called? Selfishly, he's the first journalist that I've covered that also follows me back.
So hopefully maybe Michael Douglas will start away and write article for the I paper, and hopefully maybe next week we're gonna talk about first article in this new طبعا مايكل دوغلاس من الصحفيين المرموقين في نيوكاسل سوف يغادر لصحيفة الكرونيكل بعد تقريبا أكثر من 14 سنة في عملا في الصحيفة. طبعا راح يعني انضم لصحيفة آي بيبر، طبعا صحيفة جديدة لسه ما نعرف عنها شيء، وإن شاء الله أول مقالة لي السيد مايكل دوغلاس إن شاء الله راح نجيبها إن شاء الله في
Michael Douglas is the actor.
I just woke up, sorry, Mike Douglas.
You need your coffee.
Yeah, I have already, but still. All right. So what we have next? Also, what next?
Let's see. Next we have Ian.
Ian.
Yes.
First time you choose Ian McIntosh this time.
Yes.
What it's about?
Okay. Oh wait. Oh yes, of course. So this is going back to what Talksport pundit Gabby Abanglahor said about Newcastle. He made this really crass comment that said that if you were offered 40,000 a week by Newcastle and 30,000 a week by Brentford, which is in London, of course you'd go to Brentford, which is a lower club but in London, because he was basically trying to say that Newcastle is not a great place to live.
So he's reply to him.
Yes.
What he said.
So basically, he goes through like the great, which you saw yourself firsthand, all the great things that the Northeast and Newcastle has to offer, from the vibrant restaurants and nightlife around the big market to, of course, St. James Park being the cathedral on the hill, that the great Tyne Bridge and all the quayside attractions. I'm basically saying that, and looking at historically, not that long ago, when before Mark Douglas came, right, that we were having world record signings, and that we had no trouble getting the top players from London and around the world to come on play for Kevin Keegan or Sir Bobby Robson. So he doesn't see any reason why Eddie Howe and Amanda Stavely and PIF cannot attract the top players. Maybe not Ronaldo, Messi, and Mbappe at this point, or Haaland, but really good players will want to come to Newcastle and play for Eddie Howe under the ownership, and a great city and a great region awaits them and welcomes them, just as we welcomed you as the Saudi Geordie. The Northeast is ready to welcome the top players to come and play for Newcastle. And
but Chris, first of all, who is he? The one who talked this, in Talksport. Who is he? What's his title?
He's a former Aston Villa. He's a former Aston Villa player. So people will say, I don't want to disparage Birmingham, but Birmingham can't compare to Newcastle. So
Maybe he got beat by Newcastle a lot, maybe.
Yes, sure. And for a long time they weren't even in the same division because Aston Villa was in the Championship. So it's just
see.
Sour is a bit of it's just more of like, maybe he doesn't even believe. You could say he doesn't believe this, but he actually, as we say, doubled down. He was given a chance to retract.
It's okay. I think it's one of two reasons. Either he went to just usually maybe he's neglect and he just wants his name to be around. So he said, okay, Premier League is against Newcastle so far. So let's join this agenda. Let's start to do this and affect. Maybe it's on the agenda or payroll of something, or we didn't know. But maybe this is what to continue the agenda. Just maybe he think that he will affect the players before transfer market in January.
Yeah,
so,
and this is the first time. So give you a little more background about Ian McIntosh. as he jokes, he gets paid to play computer games. So he's the writer at the Athletic who gets to play football manager, and so he has a series of articles the last couple of weeks where he's playing football manager. 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years down the road, and the football manager, for your Saudi friends who are not familiar, is a computer simulation for football where it's like you get to manage everything about Newcastle United and buy players and sell players, and the computer will project out through the seasons how Newcastle will do. So a lot of people are sort of interested what happens to Newcastle in 5-10 years, and this computer program, Football Manager, gives you kind of some insights into what's possible. But of course, it's just a computer simulation, so it's
yeah. Fun. Yeah, before I comment on that, I continue commenting, and Sanjeev Rihan says, "Hello, Alwaleed and Chris. This is my favorite show of the week. Thank you.
Shukran.
This is so flattered. I'm so flattered. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you very much."
Of all the shows out there, you choose us.
Regarding I've been to Newcastle, first time of my life, last month. And also, last month, because we are in December. Yes. Actually, it's a very great, lovely city.
Yeah.
Beautiful, nice weather. Everything is around. People are friendly. And as we talk with Dave other day, when you are with us, Christopher, it's like 1 hour difference, distance from a lot of places like Dublin, Belfast, and many cities in Europe. So he just went to get some glow or some brightness, because he's maybe lost in history. He went to find himself again by usually sometimes you need to attacking someone successful or something like that to get this, and I think this is what it's all about.
Yes.
Thank you for Macintosh for stepping and write this article. And usually I wish if but this people deal with this differently. Usually these kind of people, it's better to be ignored, not deserve to even replay. So I know you have a lot of. I think you take all the newspaper in Newcastle, Chris. You have more articles than me.
I have one more short one, and then we can go to you. So let's.
Yeah, I know. That's why. Yes. So we have Chris Wolf, right?
Yes.
Chris Wolf is from Athletic or Clinical?
Yeah, from Athletic, yes.
I forget. Okay.
Yes.
كريس وولف طبعا من الصحفيين الموثوقين من الأثليتيك. This is.
If you saw Chris Wolf last night on our friends Loaded Mag, you would have confirmed that this unfortunate headline. Chris Wolf wrote the article, but he did not write this headline where it says Newcastle fans are losing hope. Because if you read the article, it's not about Newcastle fans, and it's not about losing hope at all. In fact, you would say, how many articles have we seen that says that Newcastle fans are more hopeful now than they've ever been under Ashley, because they have new ownership and we like the ownership, even though we're at the bottom of the table. So his article is basically just going through how much of a challenge it will be based on historical precedent that really no team at the bottom of the league who hasn't won their first 14 matches has survived in the Premier League. But you would also counter that and say that no team will be backed by what we'll have in January, the money we'll have for transfers. And also, I don't think that people will say that, as I made a point out some of your other shows on the Twitter, that there's really no difference between having like a bad 14-game run at the beginning of the season versus the end of the season last year when we saw Fulham make up a 10-point deficit to close to tie with Newcastle. So if Fulham can do this in April, then we can come back from this. We're only 6 points behind the safety, as we call it. So we're only 6 points behind 18th place, which is. But we so if we win today, inshallah, we will win. We can begin to close the deficit, and all of these doomsday things about how will we do in the championship next year won't matter, because we will survive and stay up.
طبعا هذه المقالة صحيفة الأثليتيك الصحفي كريس وولف تكلم. طبعا كريس وولف اللي يبغى يتابع حلقة جميلة من لودد ماج فول ماكبايز طبعا اللي يقدمونه داز ومارتن والشباب من مدينة نيوكاسل، يتكلم عن المقالات يعني مؤخرا يعني تتكلم انه والله نيوكاسل هيهبط، والله نيوكاسل لا في امل. الجماهير يعني في تذبذب في الاراء حسب كل مباراة وحسب التوقعات، لكن ان شاء الله يعني متاملين اكثر انه في السوق الشتويه احنا املنا كبير بالله سبحانه وتعالى انه في السوق الشتويه هذه راح نحسن وضع الفريق ونحرز ان شاء الله فوز متتالي، لانه كل اللي تقريبا الان الفارق تقريبا 6 الى تقريبا 6 نقاط فقط، يعني مباراتين عشان توصل تقريبا اللي احنا نسميه اعلى عنق الزجاجه في قاع الهبوط، اللي يسمونها السيفتي، نقاط الامان. السيفتي انك تكون نفس عدد نقاط او اعلى قليلا في عدد النقاط من المراكز اللي ستهبط اذا استمرت على نفس هذا العدد من النقاط. طيب now we'll go to Charlie Bennett. Also he's now in a chronicle. Charlie Bennett, young lad, really successful journalist, still in his يعني beginning, but he have great articles. We chose this one. It's really interesting. It's talking about Fernandez, the Argentino defender. It's talking about when Fernandez play for Newcastle since he signed 2018. If he play يعني percentage of his existing in the lineup 50%, more than 50% not losing this game. So Newcastle, يعني to make it simple, Newcastle lost 50% of more than 50% if Fernandez not playing, which is this is really catch on, great catch, spot on Charlie on this statistic. طبعا نتكلم عن المدافع الارجنتيني تشارلي، تكلم صحيفة الكرونيكل عن مقالة تخص المدافع الارجنتيني اللي صار عليه لخبطة او لغط من الموضوع، انه هل الموضوع بيرسونال يعني الموضوع شخصي ولا فني. راح نتكلم الحين I will ask Chris about it now. طبعا I know he didn't want to talk about the issue thing, but we need at least to take the view. Just yeah. بالنسبة للمقالة باختصار، تعاقد فرنانديز 2018 مع نيوكاسل. المباريات اللي غابها خسر نيوكاسل منها 50%، أكثر من 50%. هذا يعني يعطي انطباع أنه مدافع قوي جدا، يقل معدل الخسارة لنيوكاسل بعدد كبير في حال مشاركته. So what keep Fernandez away from lineup, Chris?
We don't want to speculate. We suspect we know that he had COVID and that he suffered from that. But all we can probably say is that it's not a football issue. It's not an injury that coming out of the lineup. It's something in his personal life which it's not for us to speculate. And all I can say is that we wish Fetty all the best. We know that Newcastle, even without Charlie's article, we know that Fetty is probably the best defender at Newcastle, and of course they'll be better with him in the lineup than not in the lineup. And we're, hopefully we will see him being stood there on the back line of the back four, and that he will be in the lineup going forward, because I feel like Freddy Fernandez gives us our best chance to win, because we do score a lot of goals, like I've said on other shows with you last night. We're like 10th in the league in terms of goals scored, but what really kills us is that we give up too many goals, and that's just because we break down defensively, whether it's Jamal Lascelles or Fabian Scher or Kraft, or you can name all of the sort of championship level defenders that we had at the club. We haven't bought a new defender in since 2018. So our back line suffers, and we always knew it was an issue. And under Mike Ashley, we never addressed it. In fact, people will say that we probably gave away our best defender, Florian Lejeune. We didn't have a place for him, so we sent him out on loan. He did well on loan, and then we sold him into the La Liga. So that was not very good move there. And hopefully Freddy Fernandez continues to play and to now start for the club, and that we have other people like, unfortunately, Kieran Clark, who was a good servant to the club, but probably his best days are behind him. And Jamal Lascelles, he was replaced as captain by Callum Wilson when he was out on suspension for the yellow cards amassed. So hopefully going forward from January, we have a retooled defense and maybe we still have Fernandez, but not Kieran Clark, and probably not Jamal Lascelles being the captain going forward for next year.
Do you think, Chris, it was like meant to be that Fernandez will play? Jamal Lascelles was suspended, and Matt Ritchie as well, and Kieran Clark fired or red card less than 10 minutes. It's all meant to be to Fernandez to make his comeback, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm happy for the lad. We know for whatever reason he had off field struggles, and you don't wish that on anyone. And you just wish that things can settle with his family and his life, and that he's back on the pitch. Because again, Newcastle is in Charlie's article shows Newcastle is stronger with Federico Fernandez in the lineup, and hopefully he's at least through January he's a mainstay of our back line, and that our ascent will coincide with him coming back in the lineup.
طبعا نعلق على موضوع المدافع الارجنتيني اللي سبب غيابه بدأ يقول لك كريس ما ابغى ادخل في الامور، لان كلها اعتقادات او ما في شيء اكيد، شائعات، لكن كنا متاكدين منه انه هو اصيب في كورونا، ومن بعدها بدات معاه بعض المشاكل اللي ما نعرف هل هي خلاف مع المدرب، حسب ما سمعنا انه اختلف مع جريم جونز في بعض الاشياء، لكن ما نعرف بالضبط. لكن سبحان الله كان مكتوب، مع انه غاب مدافعين ما شارك، فسبحان الله كان كل شيء مكتوب عشان يشارك مباراة، وقدم صراحة مباراة رائعة. And I really like his reaction when he was running after the referee, shout in his face, saying it's handball. I love this this attitude. This should come from the captain actually.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Yeah. Next طبعا عندنا الارتيكل، طبعا next article interview with Charlie Bennett as well with المناطق newspaper. مناطق is mean the regions, and I am by myself. I'm writing some articles about Newcastle. Anything about Newcastle, I write it in this newspaper, which I want to say thank you for this opportunity for المناطق newspaper. طبعا تكلمت يعني اوكي يعني it's in Arabic, so اللي يبغى يقراه يعني موجودة في حسابنا في تويتر في صحيفة المناطق. تكلمنا يعني تحدث عن صفقة الاستحواذ، تحدث عن الانتقالات الشتوية، نظرته أيضا للسعودية وتوقعه أنه كأس العالم إن شاء الله. يقول لك أنا 100% متأكد أنه كأس العالم سيقام قريبا في السعودية، أنه مبهور يعني الآن بجهود الرياضية الاستثمارية للسعودية، الفورمولا 1، المصارعة والملاكمة، وأنه الآن كرة القدم. فخور جدا أنه ناديه ومدينته طبعا أنه يتم الاستثمار فيها من قبل صندوق الاستثمارات السعودية في النادي اللي يشجعه اللي هو نادي نيوكاسل. This interview with Charlie Bennett from the Chronicle, we asked Charlie about takeover and new management, his opinion on new management, new owners, also about Saudi sport investment efforts. He expected World Cup will be soon held in Saudi Arabia as well. Talking about Formula 1, wrestling, WWE, and boxing as well. And now football, he's happy and proud that Saudi Arabia have invested in his team he loved and the city he born in. Great article, a great interview. Thank you, Charlie Bennett, for this opportunity as well. And now we go back to Jordan.
Cronin. Yes, a new face for us. If you know Liam Kennedy, who we'll get to, but Liam Kennedy is now like the Rais or the Sheikh of his paper.
The Godfather.
so now
the Gaffer.
Yeah. So now Liam Kennedy is still covering Newcastle United, but he gets to employ Jordan Cronin as the beat writer, as we say, beat writer covering Newcastle United. And so his article here is talking about, this is basically all about leadership. And this is a good transition from my last article, or your last article about Fernandez, because Eddie Howe has established a leadership group in the club, and basically this is an extension of the captains. We've known that Jamal Lascelles is the captain, as he was under Rafa and Steve Bruce, the guy who shall not be named. And he's continued to be the captain under Eddie Howe, and Eddie Howe recognizes that he's a physical presence and he's a leader, more or less, on and off the pitch. But he also recognizes the leadership qualities that Shelby has, who's the vice captain, Federico Fernandez, who is the third captain, Matt Ritchie, who is our popular choice for Matters or Loaded, or maybe you two would agree that we all thought that he's a leader on the pitch, a really vocal leader. And this is something that Eddie Howe recognizes in terms of who are the lads on the club that really use their voice to speak up, because leadership is by example, but also you've got to be forceful with your voice and tell people what to do, or tell people when you both approve of them, give them encouragement, as we've seen in some of the viral clips with Eddie Howe and Joe Linton, which we can't repeat here on the show. So like leadership is both by example, but also by voice. And he recognizes that Matt Ritchie is one of the biggest voices on the club. And so he mentions this leadership group. He doesn't say who's in the leadership group, but it's strongly implied that it would include Jamal Lascelles, Federico Fernandez, John Joe Shelby, Callum Wilson, and Matt Ritchie. Five of the best leaders at Newcastle United. And it's just kind of it just shows how much has changed under Howe in his different approach than really the guy who took 3 days off and flew to Portugal. That was his idea of teaching lessons to his club and installing leadership by like absence. Whereas Eddie Howe is the hands-on manager that he knows he can get the best out of players. He's like the best combination of a man manager, but also a tactician and a strategist. So he provides the personal skills, but also the football skills, and that's something we've been lacking. Let's say back to Kevin Keegan, a guy who would put his arm around you, but also drew up the way to win. So, we've had some great managers in Newcastle's history, and if it's pretty early to judge Eddie Howe, but we have to say that he's off to a strong start, even though we're off to our worst start on the pitch. The foundation that Eddie Howe is putting into the club will serve us well, no matter what happens this year, going into next season, whether we survive to build or whether we have to build back on the championship. The leadership qualities that Eddie Howe is putting into the club will serve the club well going forward. So it's a real difference from Ashley and Bruce.
طبعا يعني المقالة باختصار تتكلم عن اختيار الكابتن. طبعا موضوع جدل واسع يختلف. مدربين في اختار كابتن على أقدمية، في اختار كابتن حسب شخصية اللاعب، حسب تأثير اللاعبين. بتكلم عن سبب اختيار الكابتن ويلسون لمباراة سابقة أمام نوريتش. يعني تقريبا هذا هو يعني تقريبا المقال، يعني كيف كان في السابق كيف كان الآن، يعني عملية اختيار الكابتن في نيوكاسل. Chris, يعني this is long, not endless topic is choosing the captain.
Yeah.
It's always an issue. Some coach depend on the player personality, some whose seniority. For me, I tried once. I was a coach once. Yes. So it was a great experience.
Gaffer
Alwaleed. Yeah, and I had to choose a captain, and I chose someone. I didn't really like him much, but why I chose him? Because I chose him for one reason or two reasons. First, the other lads listen to him.
Yes.
This is important thing. Second thing, talkative, and nobody have the energy to reach his level of talkative. Some people, like for example me, I'm not talkative. And surprisingly, I'm not talkative only in the show, but I'm not talkative. So that's why I chose him, and it was really great choice because he can talk and without stop. People listen to them. They don't want to arguing with them. So this is I think one of the best way to choose the captain. About seniority, it's not sometimes. It doesn't a good choice. And for me, I really love the captain. My favorite captain, you will be surprised. He's Carlos Boyle, Lionheart. He's the best captain I ever seen. He always strong fighter, supporting his colleagues, and shouting always at the when any mistakes, he run toward the referee, affect the referee. Sometimes the referee afraid from him. Really, this is the real captain. I hate the captain who just silent. He's not like exist. He's very polite. This is bad choice of captain. What do you think, Chris?
No, I completely agree with you. Leadership comes in many forms, but a captain always has to have a strong voice being willing to speak up when he needs to speak up, but also to keep the troops, as we call them, calm and focused when we need to. So a balance of vocal and focused is really essential to leadership, football or outside of football. And there's two kinds of leaders, like the leader that says, "Watch what I do and follow me," and that's could be effective. And there's other kinds of leaders that inspire everyone to reach within themselves and to find the greatness within yourself. And that's the best kind of leader, because you don't want somebody that's micromanaging your life, but you want somebody to be able to like inspire you to find the path, the good path in your life. And that's what the best captains will do. And who knows whether we will bring in someone like Connor Cody, who could be like a captain from another club that comes right in and even though he's new to the club, becomes the captain of Newcastle, inshallah. Or whether we will get something out of Lascelles that we haven't seen, and that he doesn't take plays off, doesn't make the mistakes that cost us goals, and becomes a more focused player. I mean, I think everyone's going to have a chance under Eddie Howe to become something that we haven't seen from them. And fair play to Eddie Howe for making resurrection projects like Joe Linton, and to reach players that need some kind of direction, like Alan St. Maximin's a brilliant player, but we all know that he doesn't play 100% of the time. And under Eddie Howe demands that all his players are always running, always moving, always focused. So maybe even somebody like Alan St. Maximin, who, for all of his skills, is not playing at Paris Saint-Germain or Juventus or Man United or Man City, because he has these flaws in his game, which hopefully we can get the best out of him, but also keep a talent like Alan St. Maximin and make him an even better player by getting Eddie Howe to get him to focus, to put in his shift, play defense, run all over the field, not take plays off. And that's leadership, to get the best out of players.
Brilliant, Chris. Now let's go to Liam Kennedy. Continue with the Newcastle war.
Yes. Looking sharp. Okay, so speaking of Joe Linton, our friend Liam Kennedy, who is anyone who's watched him on NUFC Matters with Steve Wraith will know that Liam Kennedy always gives you his honest opinion, and is not willing, is not shy about holding back and criticizing players when he feels that they need critique. And we know that he wasn't the biggest fan of Steve Bruce, and that he would call out Joe Linton in the first two seasons when our £40 million signing, our number 9. People would joke that Newcastle was always playing a man down, playing 10 men because Joe Linton didn't show up. But as I've said previously in this show and other shows, Eddie Howe has really been able to reach in there and to find something in Joe Linton that there are things that you could teach, and there's skills that you're just born with, and he thinks that Joe Linton has both the natural skills and is a willing student to be taught how to improve his game. And as I've mentioned before on the show, that viral clip of him going around and shouting praise at Joe Linton using some 4-letter words to praise him for tracking back and playing defense, because we all know that Joe Linton is not the greatest finisher, has a unique ability to slip or trip inside the box when he's facing goal and shooting sometimes in an open net. But Joe Linton has, because of his size, his physicality, has really been able to reinvent himself, and we'll talk about this in the next article. But he's clearly not a center forward, but he's been able to become like the enforcer around the pitch, and to really hold up the ball. And we talked before about Super Mac noting that for every 3 balls that Joe Linton would handle, he would give up 2 balls. He would lose possession twice out of 3 times. Now, I think Joe Linton has become a very reliable handler of the ball, being able to receive the ball, make a good decision whether to go forward or to pass and distribute the ball. But he's not giving up possession as much as he was when Super Mac was lamenting his ball possession issues.
طبعا مقالة ليام كينيدي نيوكاسل وورد عالم نيوكاسل تكلم عن التغيير الكبير على مستوى جولينتون. يعني يخليك تستغرب، يقول لك ستيف بروس ايش كان يسوي يعني مع جولينتون، ايش سوى ايدي هاو علشان في مباراتين ما شاء الله يعني يغير مستوى جولينتون لمستوى عالي جدا. you make you wonder Chris, what was Steve Bruce doing with Jolington?
Thinking about his post-match kebab.
Or biscuit factory. All right. So last article for Chris, I still have also Dr. Yazid as well. Craig Hope, Daily Mail.
Solid, serious Craig Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Craig Hope going along this line of the rebirth of Joe Linton. We know he's not a central. He's not a center forward, number 9. But Joe Linton as a number 10. Who would have thought? But
and real number 10, not false 10.
No, real number 10. Yeah, not a false 9, not a false 10. Real number 10, a central holding midfielder. Big guy. I don't know. I've never quite figured out stone, but let's say he's like Joe Linton is like 6'4" and probably weighs 200 pounds, whatever, which is solidly built for an attacking player. And Craig Hope has noticed, and Eddie Howe has said that Eddie Howe has acknowledged, yes, Joe Linton was not a number 9, not a center forward, but to play him in the central midfield, it's been a bit of a revelation. And we've seen Joe Linton been the man of the match for like a couple matches in a row now, which is unbelievable for anyone who watched Joe Linton the last 2 seasons. Was nowhere near getting the accolades of man of the match, but under Eddie Howe, he's been transformed into a it's interesting that Junior Turner is saying we should sell him. Not quite, mate, but we'll see what the plans are for the. I'm so confident we will stay up. So let's see what happens in the summer or next year. I feel like he's not a 40 million player, but we can get something out of him, and I wouldn't be in favor of just selling him off now because he won't fetch that great a market, and I think he can be part of our plans going forward. But who would have thought I would say that?
Speaking of 40 million, Junior Turner say Joe Linton they should cash in while he's playing better.
Yes. I'm going to just disagree there with our friend Junior Turner, and say let's see what Joe Linton can do in the full season under Eddie Howe, and then maybe next season. Wherever we land should be in the Premier League. But
okay, we'll speak about the game today after we finish last article.
yes.
Quickly, it's from اليوم newspaper. It's me today. Dr. Yazid Al-Jasser. He was with us in space last night. Chris, writing great article actually, talking about a lot of stuff. care for Newcastle. He said it's like things. There is an old saying. It's very hard to translate, which it means it's things always. You can't judge from the beginning, from their beginnings sometimes.
Yeah.
This is what it means. He said, the best thing, our first big step, PIF and the owners of Newcastle, new owners, when they sign the great, the best coach, which is Eddie Howe, and the way that he was talking about the way they choosing Eddie Howe, that he's considered and coach ages. He's like a young lad, and he's in between, not that old school, and he's not like just recently retired like Gerrard or Lambert. He's 44 years old. He have experience, and I think this is one of the goal. I remember Amanda Civil when she said something about one of the reasons they chose Eddie Howe, he's not afraid from, or he have been experienced the relegation battle.
She did say he's not afraid of relegation, which some people thought was a strange comment because they're completely focused on staying up. But
yes, this is one of the reason. And he talking about Bournemouth. Stays 5 years with Bournemouth. He got I think best or some reward regarding coach. It's a great article actually, and I will try to find some time to translate it fully in English and post it later. This is from Dr. Yazid Al-Jasser. We thank all the journalists for their and we chose this collection major from Chris. Great choices, Chris, and this is our trusted sources, and this is what the show is about. We want to bring to Saudi Arabia and to Newcastle the trusted journalists. نبغى نجيب الصحفيين اللي الموثوقين في السعوديه ونيوكاسل، بدل ما نشوف احنا الحسابات تروح تجيب اخبار من كائن ملك، من كان ناس عندهم اجنده وناس خطا. هي مش الفكره انك تروح تجيب خبر وتترجمه. ما نبغى نذكر اسماء، ذكرناها كثير. في صحفيين كثير عندهم اجنده ضد النادي، ضد اشياء كثيره، فنحاول انه ننتقي الاخبار ونهتم لها من المصادر الصحفيه الموثوقه اللي طبعا عندها اخلاق عاليه ايضا. طبعا let's talk about the game.
Yes.
Game. We have 5 minutes. We want to discuss the game. Do you think today is can we say it's the test or the real test for Eddie Howe? Because as we said earlier, he didn't get comfortable in any match. First one, he got COVID. Second one, he catch last train to London. Third game, Clark stupid mistake at first minutes. So he didn't get a full control in any game. Like he can be relaxed and really applicate or do work quietly or work comfortably enough. So do you think today it's the game that we really see what Eddie Howe have?
It has to be put that way, because I'm not for excuses. I'm not saying that he's making excuses, but we're sort of out of excuses. Okay, so we our last each match we say has been a must win, and we've gotten a draw or worse. And so we thought, okay, it only puts more pressure on the next match. And I'm going to sort of contradict myself because earlier I said that, okay, so we have a bad run of 14 matches. It shouldn't matter whether it's the first 14, middle 14, or like 14 matches in March and April. You know, we are still only down 6 points from safety. So I think 6 points is an achievable a deficit when you consider that again, Fulham was down 10 points to us in this last spring and managed to close the gap to nothing. So I think yes, we do face, after this match, we do face Leicester, Man United, Man City, Liverpool. So a tough run of matches. But we got 2 points off Liverpool last season. So I think that we're going to get 3 points today. And I'm going to predict a 2-1 win. But I don't believe that this is our last chance to get points before January.
Do you think Burnley will play counter-attack today? Focus on it.
Well, I don't know. I don't know their style that well. I just know that they do like to run, and they really depend on Chris Wood, as their really only attacking player, and that they're pretty solid in the back with Tarkowski, another Newcastle target. And interesting on the Loaded Away Days show last night, where even the Burnley fan was suggesting that we could get Tarkowski for $7 million or $10 million possibly in January, and not of this idea that there would be no. Some people will say there's no way that Tarkowski, the Burnley would sell Tarkowski to a relegation rival, because then if they go down because of that sale, it'll cost them a lot more than any return from Tarkowski selling him.
Yes.
But I think that we still don't know how much money. I think everyone needs to stop talking about the worth of PIF, because the worth of PIF is tied up in a bunch of companies. It doesn't mean that all of that money, staying with the richest club in the world, doesn't help us much when we're in last place. It's about the funds that PIF and Amanda Staveley and the Rubin and Jimmy Rubin want to allocate to us to keep us competitive and to build the club. And I think that Tarkowski for $7 million would be, a great signing. And then hopefully we get somebody like Connor Cody from Wolverhampton to really solidify our back line and to on some of the championship defenders that we've had since 2017, 18, and really start to build a title contender. Wow, from the back, and including Tarkowski and Cody.
We all wish luck for Newcastle to get us the 3 points today. Thank you, Christopher, for your input today. And
what's your prediction? I didn't hear the prediction from you.
Actually, I don't like to predict, but
okay.
It's very I don't know. No time to predict. No time to predict. It's gonna be, as we said, it must be a win, and hopefully this will not make pressure. But we should do everything possible to win today. It's like if you couldn't win against a rival in the battle of relegation now, who you are gonna win over?
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Chris. Thank you so much.
thank you. طبعا للتذكير، اليوم إن شاء الله نادي مشجعي نيوكاسل في المقر الرسمي لنادي مشجعي نيوكاسل كافيه سوفيغ حي القرطبة. انضموا إلينا إن شاء الله اليوم في الساعة 6 مساء. طبعا احنا هذه اول حلقه نصورها في استوديو الخاص في سفير كافيه. نتمنى ان شاء الله نشوفكم اليوم وندعم فريقنا نيوكاسل. and at the end we say how are the lads.
How are the lads? مع السلامة.
مع السلامة كريستوفر. See you today.
Okay, later.
Take me home to the banks of the river Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine. It's a place I'm the best, 'cause it's better than the rest. Take me home to the banks of the river Tyne. Take me home to the banks of the river Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine. It's a place I love best. Yes, it's better than the rest. Take me home to the banks of the river Tyne.
بالنسبه لما يجيك ستيف بروس مثلا يحط لك 5 في خط الدفاع ويلعب مهاجمين،
Excuse me,
اللاعبين اللي في النص
what is your VPN?
ما يجي بي ان.
Yes.
ما يجي بي ان سبايدر دي بي ان.